What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video, CR Sports Analysis. We got a couple NBA games on today. Only two genuinely matter. The two that matter are the ATL and Brooklyn game and the Minnesota and Memphis game. Minnesota and Memphis are both competing for a better seeding opportunity, while Atlanta has to win today. Brooklyn, they should win against Brooklyn, but they have to win today in order to, let me check. They are eighth in the Eastern Conference. So if they lose today, then they drop. So Atlanta needs a win. I think Trae Young will play pretty well today. So for that game, well, before we get started, we're going to go over the recap. Not too terrible of the day, but not the best. Thompson 10 points, Lively 4 rebounds, didn't come through. Davis ended up with 13. Golden State lost on a buzzer beater, and Chris Paul was a half assist away. I did take him for just 4, though. He did cash that, but it's all good. Let's go on to the next games for the day. Like I was talking about earlier, at Atlanta at Brooklyn. I'll probably take Atlanta money line today. They really don't want to play around with this game. And I also have Trae Young for 15 to 20 points. I'm going to go over him. And I also have Oneyka O for 6 to 8 rebounds. So just to get started off, Trae Young prop is a great prop for today. Let's see. He scored over 25 points in his last 4 games versus Brooklyn. Both times this year he scored over 25. So if you were comfortable with taking him for 20 today in a game that they must win, I would consider it. He's 27 out of 37 games this year in away games with getting over 20 points. In his last 30 games, he's hit this in 22. His last 30 away. Let's get back to him real quick. Sorry. Let's see. Atlanta at Brooklyn, Trae Young. Yeah, I do like Trae Young for 20, but if you want to be conservative, like we always do, take him down to 15 points. And now he's hit this in 9 out of 10 games versus Brooklyn. If you want to go maybe over 15 and a half, 16 and a half, just to get some value on Trae Young, I probably would encourage it. But he's gone over 15 points in 28 of his last 30 games outright and 63 out of 74 games this year. Next, we're looking at is Oneyka O rebounds. There actually is a lot of value for this game on ATL side of things. Maybe look at Dyson Daniels, 10 points, or, Zachary Richesire. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but he's been doing pretty good. He dropped 36, a couple games ago. Like I said, this is a must-win game for Atlanta, so they probably will blow them out. But before they blow them out, I do see Nickeil A getting 6 rebounds. He's got 6 over in every single game versus Brooklyn since 2022. If we go down here to his filters, he's averaging 32 minutes a game in his last 30. So really only need his last 10. So he's averaging 34. We just put him up to around 25 minutes a game. That's probably what he will play. The lowest usage rate I see is a 13% usage rate. We just do that, and now he's hit 6 rebounds in 40 out of 43 games this year when playing over 25 minutes. If we look at in away games, he's hit this in 19 out of 20 away games this year. 100% this year. Also, he had 15 rebounds against Brooklyn last time. So 6 to be moderate, 8 for a little bit more value. This is his stats for 8. On the season, when playing 25 or more minutes, he averages 10. He's hit this in 33 out of 43 games this year. And then if we look at him away for 8, he's hit this in 15 out of 20 games. So that is what I have for the Atlanta at Brooklyn game. Next, we're looking at is New Orleans Pelicans at Milwaukee. This game doesn't really mean anything. I do see Milwaukee getting a win here at home. Pelicans, not that great of a team. I do know that Milwaukee barely beat the Pelicans the last time they played them, April 6th, a couple days ago. but I still like Milwaukee here. Money line minus 950. If you look at the Pelicans' record away, they're 7-33 away, and Milwaukee's 25-14 at home. That is why I do like Milwaukee today. The Bucks have Antetokounmpo as probable, so as we know, a home game for Milwaukee. Giannis has cashed over 20 points in every single home game this season versus Milwaukee. I mean, not versus, but this whole season at home, he's gotten over 20 points. So whenever you see Giannis playing at home, you really can throw some value on him, man. Um, as we see, 20 points every single game this season. But I also like him to go, maybe over 25 today. He's gone over 30 points in every single game against the Pelicans. He did not play in the recent matchup. But, I mean, I do like Giannis for maybe, over 22 and a half or 20 points today. And we also took his rebounds. Let's see. His rebounds, he's averaging 13 rebounds against the Pelicans. He's gotten over 10 rebounds in every single game versus the Pelicans. And then we just like him for 8. He's hit this in 60 out of 66 games this year. We took him for 8 at home last time doing the method every other game, and he did come through for us. Kind of was a sweat for his points, but we do know if the player knows they're on a streak of getting a certain amount of points, they most likely will keep that streak going. The same thing with LeBron. LeBron has been scoring over 10 points since 2007. So, I mean, these players do know their lines. They do know how to keep a streak going, and it's more money for them. But Giannis, 33 out of 36 games this year at home and getting 8 rebounds. He's never had just one game in a row where he got it over and didn't get it the next. So we do like that about Giannis today. And we also had Kuzma for 10 points. I don't really have too much for this game just because it really doesn't matter and the season's coming to an end. Probably not gonna do as much videos. You know, for the next couple of days just because, a lot of teams are resting. But in the last 3 games, Kyle Kuzma has gotten over 10 points. He scored 14, 28, and 17 against the Pelicans. He scored 10 points in 25 of his last 30 games and 49 out of 62 games this year. If we look at him for home, he's hit this in 22 out of 30. But let me fix that actually. He's been playing over 20 minutes in his last 10 games, so let's filter his minutes up to 20 so we can weed out some of those games where he didn't play as much, where he got injured, because then that would be, not really valuable to our stat line. But when Kyle Kuzma has played over 20 minutes this year, he's cashed in 45 out of 52 games. And if we see him at home, he's gotten this in 21 out of 23 home games this year. Head-to-head, 100%. His last 10 home games, he's gotten over 10 points. In his last 30, he's got this in 28 out of his last 30. So that is what I do have for that New Orleans Pelicans at Milwaukee game. Next game we're going to be looking at is Cleveland at the Pacers. So I did take the Indiana money line. Well, I haven't took them, but I most likely would if I were to, go with them. Just for starters, Cleveland's whole starting lineup is not playing tonight. I seen that Jared Allen might play. So if Jared Allen does play, I mean, you can take Jared Allen. But I do see the Pacers winning this game. They need a win here. Cleveland pretty much ready for the playoffs. They're resting their starters. Indiana's been 8-2 in the last 10 games. They're on a win streak right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On a 5-game win streak. Just coming off a win against Washington and Denver. Cleveland, they're 7-3 in the last 10. But with the starters out today, I do see the Pacers coming back with this one. Props I have in that game are Pascal Siakam 10 to 15 points and Haliburton 10 to 15.6 rebounds. Let's get into that real quick. Pascal 10 to 15 points. I do like it. Let me show you why. In every single game versus Cleveland, Since 2022, Pascal has gotten over 15 points, so you can take him today for 15 for value and feel comfortable with that, knowing that he's gotten over 15 in every single game since 2022. He's hit this in 62 out of 77 games this year, and at home, he's hit this in 31 out of 39 games. So the reason why I go 10 to 15 is because, if you want to stay conservative, like always, bump him down to 10, and now he's hit this in 75 out of 77 games this year. I'm not sure. Did I have his rebounds? No. I did not like Pascal rebounds today. But we do like Haliburton points and assists. Let's start off with his assist. His line is at 9.5. If we just look at him for 6 assists, he's got this in 63 out of 72 games this year. And at home, he's cashed this in 33 out of 36 games this year at home. Head-to-head, he's gotten 6 in every single game at home versus Cleveland since 2022, averaging 9.7 assists. So, if you want to bump him up to 8, as we see, he's never went back-to-back games all season at home without getting 8 assists. So I actually do like Haliburton today for 8 assists. To be honest, we probably can bump him up just a little bit. 6 to 8 assists. That probably won't be on my NBA card on Instagram, but we still like him for 8. If you're watching this video, then you can see that. And we also have him for 10 to 15 points. Let's go over to his points. His line is at 16.5. Let's see. Just looking at him for 10 points real quick. He's hit 10 points in 10 out of 12 games versus Cleveland. He did have under 5 points versus them last time he played them. If we're looking at on the season, he's hit this in 61 out of 72 games this year. But if we go to home, he's hit this in 33 out of 36 home games this year. Head-to-head at home, he's gone over 10 points in every single game since 2022. And he's gone over 15 points as well, except one. So 6 out of 7 games at home since 2022 with getting over 15 points. In his last 10 home games, he's gotten over 10 points in 10 games straight, averaging 19.4 at home. So we do like Haliburton 10 to 15. And along with the Pacers money line, Cleveland is resting today. So let's move over to the next game. The games with the closer spread. Right here on the right side of the screen, New York at Detroit. New York has some starters out today. Let's go to that game right here. New York is 8-2 against Detroit in the last 10, 5-5 against the spread. In the last 10 outright, the New York Knicks are 7-3 and 8-2 against the spread, while Detroit is 5-5 and 3-7 against the spread. Detroit is 21-18 at home. New York 23-16 away. Money line's pretty close, man. Detroit plus 136. I probably could take a look at that, or plus 3.5. Maybe alternate that up a little bit, but the Knicks are not playing with heart. OG or Mitchell Robinson. While Detroit, Cunningham is probable. Isaiah Stewart is questionable. Harris is probable. This game can go either way. I'm thinking Detroit wants this game a little bit more. I do think Detroit wins this game, but I do think it will be a close battle game, considering that Tom Thibodeau does play his players a lot, and it doesn't matter if the playoffs are coming up for him. So for that game, I got Ausar T 4 rebounds, Dennis Schroder over 1 threes made, Cunningham 15 to 20 points, Karl Anthony Towns 15 to 20 points, 6 to 8 rebounds, Jalen Brunson 15 to 20. Let's just get into those picks real quick. First, we're going to take a look at Ausar T rebounds. Let's see. Just taking a look at him for 4. He's hit this in 43 out of 57 games this year. And if we go to his last 10, really he's been playing over 25 minutes a game, but Tobias Harris is back. So we're probably going to put him over just 15 minutes. 16 is okay. 11% usage rate. He does do better when Tobias Harris is out. But on the year, now when he's playing at least 15 to 16 minutes, he's cashed 4 rebounds in 39 out of 47 games this year. If you look at him for home games this year, he's got this in 20 out of 24 home games and 24 out of his past 30 games. He's never played the Knicks at home, but the Knicks, the most recent matchup he had when he did play over 15 minutes, he had 7 rebounds. So we do like Ausar today for 4, maybe even ulted, but lower than that, maybe go 2.5. Then it's Schroder over 0.5 threes made, so just 1 3. Let's go to that. I do like Dennis Schroder for maybe over 8.5 points today, but I would be a little iffy on that. He's a backup point guard. Cunningham starting at home would be a little iffy, but on the season, he's hit this in 34 out of 38 games. It's 1 3 made in 26 of his past 30. And as we can see, at home, he's never went just 3 games in a row where he did not get 1 3 the next game. So we do like Dennis Schroder over 1 3 made. That is a good value prop, to be honest. Like, that can bump a parlay up, maybe $20 to $50 if you add just that on there. Cade Cunningham, 15 to 20 points. Like I said, this game is like they want to rest their players, but I do think they still play hard just because for seeding purposes. Taking a look at Cade Cunningham points. Let's see. 15 to 20. Take a look at him for 21st. Sit this in 56 out of 68 games this year. 5 out of 8 head-to-head and 26 out of 30. And if you take a look at home, he sit this in 26 out of 33 games. So he is more likely to get 20 points in away games. So because of that, we just bump him down to 15. Be conservative on it. He's hit this in 31 out of 33 home games. And then since he does play better away, he's hit this in 34 out of 35 away games. They're playing at home today. Cade Cunningham, 15 points should be pretty clear. Towns, 15 to 20 points, 6 to 8 rebounds. I do see Towns and Brunson today making, an impact on the court since OG and Hart are out. Let's take a look at Towns' rebounds. He's averaging 11 in 5 games versus Detroit. He had over 10 both games he's played them this year. So if we just look at him for 10, he's hit this in 57 out of 71 games this year. 4 out of 5 for 10 and 21 out of 30 for 10 rebounds. We take a look at him for 8. He's hit this in 65 out of 71 games this year. Looking at away games, he's hit this in 34 out of 38 away games this year. So 6 rebounds is pretty free for him. He's hit this in every single away game this year and every single game this season outright. So if you can find time for 6, add him on there for, a couple more dollars to your parlay if you are making one. We also like him for 15 to 20 points. I did mention that along with Brunson points. So let's get into Towns points first. He's gotten over 20 points in every single game versus Detroit, scoring 26 in his most recent game versus them. In his last 30, he's hit this in 21 out of 30 games. And this year, he's hit this in 50 out of 71 games. If you take a look at him for away games, his percentages do go up. He's hit this in 27 out of 38 games away at 20 points. So, not really the best that we see. We do like him, maybe for some value. Maybe over 16.5 for value. But 15 points should be pretty free for Towns today. Sit this in 33 out of 38 games this year, and every time he's gone just 2 games, he's always went over the next. So pay attention to that. But that's just in away games. Obviously, he has 2 games right here. But we see that he's never went just 4 games in a row where he, end up not going over the next game. So we do like that for Towns 15. Next pick we're looking at is Jalen Brunson. He's just not coming back. I think he kind of wants to get into a little bit more playoff form. Brunson does great against Detroit. He's averaging 27.8 versus Detroit, going over 26.5 points in 7 out of 12 games versus Detroit. If we look at him for away games this year, um, let's actually drop him down to 20. In 25 out of 30 games this year, he's gotten over 20 points in away games. Head to head, he said this in 3 or 4 games. His most recent away game at Detroit, he scored 36. In his last 30, 25 out of 30. Hasn't really played that many away games this season. He's been injured for quite some time. But we see him also on the season. Let's see. Bump him down to 15 just for, parlay bet. Sit this in 57 out of 63 games this year. Head to head, 100%, 12 out of 12. And in his last 30, 28 out of 30. So we do like Brunson for 15 to 20 points today. And the last game we're looking at is Minnesota at Memphis. Anthony Edwards, 15 to 20 points. Nickeil A Walker, over 6.5 points. Julius Randle, 10 points. Aldama, 10 points. Jaren Jackson Jr., 15 points. This game will be one of the better games today. I can see this game going either way, so there's no sense of picking a money line. But Memphis is 25-14 at home. Minnesota is 23-17 away. In the last 10 games, Minnesota has won 6 times to Memphis's 4. And Minnesota is 6-4 against the spread in the last 10. Head to head, we're just looking at last 10 games period. Minnesota is 6-4 and 5-5 against the spread, while Memphis is 4-6 and 3-7 against the spread. Injury rise, no injuries for Minnesota. Memphis injuries, just pulling in whales. Nothing really too major for them, but we can go over some of these picks in here when we get to the end of this video. Let's take a look at Minnesota at Memphis. First player we're looking at, Nickeil A Walker. In his last 20 games, he's never went back-to-back games without getting over 6.5. If you look at him for away games, well, first let's fix his filters. He's playing 15 minutes a game. Let's see. In his last 10, usage rate, we're going to put that up over maybe 8%. Yep. He's hit 6.5 and 51 out of 75 games this year. Not the best. Looking at away games, he's hit this in 25 out of 38 away games. But if we look at on a Thursday, his last 4 games on a Thursday, he's gotten over 10 points. If we look at versus Western Conference teams, he's hit this in 38 out of 49 games versus Western Conference teams. Western Conference teams away, he's hit this in 20 out of 25 games away versus Western Conference team when playing at least 15 minutes. So we do like Nickeil for over 6.5. That is a player prop. That is 50-50 value. Maybe take a look at Naz Reid points too. Mike Conley points, assist. We do got Santi Aldama though. His line is at 10.5. So if we're just looking at him for 10, let's go to his past 10 games. He's playing over 20 minutes a game. That is pretty big minutes for Santi Aldama. Just usage rate, 13%. He's hit this line in 37 out of 43 games this year, just going one game where he did not get it the game before and the game after. So kind of risky right there. But head-to-head, he's hit this in 4 out of 5 games versus Minnesota. If we look at in away games this year, he's hit this in 18 out of 22 away games and 26 out of his past 30. He's just hitting 10 right up on the head, so 10.5 might be a little bit too close for comfort for Santi Aldama. Maybe even bump his line all the way down to like 4 points and alternate it. Throw it on a parlay. He definitely can give you 4 points if he's averaging that many versus the West, and he's playing over 20 minutes a game. I actually don't have anything for Ja Morant today, but I do have Anthony Edwards. If you take a look at his past 10 games, he's playing over 25 minutes a game. Let's move that filter up. Usage rate over 25% usage rate as well. Usage rate just means how many times he's touching the ball or getting an assist or, being the main character on the floor almost. But Anthony Edwards, looking at him for 20 points, he's gone over 20 points in every single game versus Memphis since 2021. So you can be a little bit comfortable for taking Edwards for 20 today. I do like him for 20. If we look at all season, he's cashed this in 59 out of 67 games. Last 30, 27 out of 30. And then obviously, if 20 looks that great, 15 looks even better. So Anthony Edwards, 15, has not let me down this season yet. Sit this in 66 out of 67 games this season. So we do like him. Next prop we're looking at is Julius Randle, and then we got Jaren Jackson Jr. There actually is a lot of props in this game that you can benefit off of, but I don't want to force any props today. We got playoffs coming up. Kind of want to save. It is smart to save, but Jaren Jackson Jr., his last 10 games, let's fix his filters. 20 minutes a game. This will be a heavily minute game for the starters tonight, considering their seeding opportunity for whoever wins this game. Jaren Jackson Jr. at home has gotten 15 points in 30 out of 33 home games this year. He's cashed this in 6 out of 7 games head-to-head. He had 24 his most recent home game versus Minnesota. Yeah, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. His last 7 games versus Minnesota, he's gone over 15 points as well in 25 of his past 30. And as we see, every time he had 14 points the game before, he got over 15 the next. So Jaren Jackson Jr. 15 pretty much solidified today. And then we had Julius Randle for 10, man. Not really too much for this game. Kind of disappointed in myself. I didn't really deep dive into this game as much as I really wanted to, but it's all good. We don't want to force nothing. Forcing stuff is like the worst thing to do. But let's see. What was his line at? His line was, if I could find him, 17.5. So you can find some value for him at 15, but I do like him for 10 today. The reason why I like him for 10 is because he never went back-to-back games this season without getting 10 points. So, that's pretty clear of a stat. If you want to be risky, take him for 15. You can. Let me show you 15 real quick. 15, he's cashed this in 50 out of 66 games this year. And he's only went one time this year where he did not go over 15 points, 2 games in a row. Every other game, though, as you see, hit back-to-back, he went over. Every time he had a red, he went over. Even in his last 10, as you see, his last 20, this games right here is the only 2 games. But we can see that he did play 19 minutes in that game. So, if you want to, bump his minutes up to 20, we see that now for 15 points. Oh, well, actually, no, he did play over 20 that game. So, yeah. So, Julius Randle for 10 points. I pretty much like him for 10. But that pretty much concludes the video for today, man. These are the props that I have for today. If you want to take a screenshot, maybe go back in the video and see which lines look the best to you. But, MLB is coming soon for me. I will be dropping MLB videos. I'm just waiting for a little bit more trends to happen. But I hope this video was helpful for you today. Like, comment, subscribe, share my video if you want to. Follow me on Instagram at cr.bets_. And peace, man. Have a good day.